Diagnostic lab tests help determine a patient's condition. Knowing what lab information is needed from a patient's medical team and how in turn those lab results affect the dental health or treatment can be confusing. Being a dentist, it's important to be knowledgeable about the different tests and their values in order to make informed clinical decisions. Assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Saida Amulkhair. Today's topic is impact of medical laboratory values on dental procedures. Objectives of today's topic: how oral and general health are interrelated, list of some systemic health problems that may require laboratory values for dental procedures, understanding how a patient's blood glucose level values and complete blood count with differential values impact on dental procedures. Oral health, an integral part of overall health. This idea has been ingrained in oral health care fields for several decades, but it continues to remain artificially separated from general medical care. Medical colleagues may not be aware of implication of oral health on their patients' systemic problems. Therefore, dentists cannot rely on medical practitioners to educate the patients about oral and systemic link. Evidence-based research has shown many significant medical conditions, including coronary heart disease, respiratory disease, diabetes mellitus, and low birth weight babies, are related to oral health issues. As dentists, we should be comfortable reading and interpreting the patient lab values in order to support and deliver safe and effective patient care. Requesting lab values for patients with complex medical issues or patients who are undergoing extensive medical treatment is crucial to provide safe and effective dental care with positive outcomes. Clear and concise explanations of the dental treatment plan and concerns regarding the patient's current health status must be communicated to the medical team so that they can give us appropriate recommendations to ensure the patient's safety. Prior to the initiation of the treatment, oral health professionals should request lab values for the patients who are under physician's care for systemic conditions. As in common, we come across the patient with a history of diabetes mellitus who have a concerns of high or low glucose level or immunosuppression, which will impact on our treatment plan and even postoperatively. Lab tests must be requested and clearance to treat from a physician must be taken. Apart from a chairside glucose test must be done. Other systemic conditions like people who is undergoing chemotherapy, radiotherapy, or patients who had hepatitis B, hepatitis C, liver cirrhosis, and patients with organ transplants and patients who are on the immunosuppression therapy. These patients might have concerns during the treatment or post-operatively as they may develop thrombocytopenia and neutropenia. So, a complete blood count with a differential must be requested and follow-up with the physician must be done. For the patients with chemotherapy and radiotherapy, follow up with the medical team about the time of the therapy and what was the location of the radiotherapy. Location in the sense the part of the body involved in the radiotherapy must be asked in detail and clearance to treat from the physician must be taken. For hepatitis B and C, even we should consult about the active hepatitis in the patients. And for the patients who are on the immunosuppression therapy and organ transplant patients, you should ask the physician about possible prophylactic antibiotics before the start of the treatment and also clearance to treat should be taken from the physician for these systemic conditions. Let's come to commonly seen systemic condition, diabetes mellitus. We will not discuss detail about what it is and what are the types. We will just go in detail about the impact of lab values on dental procedures and our concerns as a dentist about the post-operative healing. As we know, poorly controlled diabetes mellitus will hinder in wound healing and patient safety during the treatment. Chairside glucose test can give a snapshot of the patient's real-time status and is important for assessing risk of acute emergency in the dental setting. HbA1c can also be tested chairside and will give a better determination of overall glucose control. HbA1c provides a better picture of immune function, wound healing, and procedure tolerance. For patients with type 1 diabetes, chairside testing is recommended prior to the initiation of invasive treatments such as non-surgical periodontal debridement or extraction. General glucose testing for diabetic control is indicated for the patients who exhibit an active periodontal disease, slow wound healing, or other opportunistic infections. Physical status classification for diabetes mellitus. This table is adapted from Malamud's Emergency in Dental Office 7th edition. We will discuss this one by one in coming slides. Blood glucose level below 70 mg per deciliter. The patient may accept the treatment, but there is a risk of developing hypoglycemia during the treatment. So the patient should be informed and educated about the low blood glucose levels, and should be given a fast-acting carbohydrate before the start of the dental treatment, like juice, soft drinks, or candy bars. Check the blood glucose level after the snack, 15 to 30 minutes after the snacks, and depending on the readings, continue the treatment. When blood glucose level is in the range of 70 to 100 milligrams per deciliter and HbA1c is less than 6.5, the patient may accept the treatment very well, and there is no need for the referral to the physician. When the blood glucose is in the range of 110 to 175 mg per deciliter and HbA1c is in the range of 6.5 to 7.5, the patient may accept the treatment very well. No need of referring the patient to the physician. When the blood glucose is in the range of 175 to 240 mg per deciliter and HbA1c is in the range of 7.5 to 8.5, you should inform and educate the patient about the higher levels of the glucose and their effects on the treatment and post-operative healing. And you should evaluate the patient very well before the start of the treatment, and the patient may accept the treatment, but you should take a suggestion from the medical team before starting the treatment. Blood glucose in the range of 240 to 400 mg per deciliter and HbA1c in the range of 8.5 to 9.5 should inform and educate the patient about the higher levels of blood glucose and their effects on the dental treatment and post-operative healing. Evaluate carefully before the treatment, and the patient may accept the treatment, but you have to do only the assessment part, not the treatment. Before the treatment, you should take the consent from the physician. When the blood glucose is more than 400 mg per deciliter and HbA1c is 9.5, the patient when comes with this lab report, you should terminate the appointment and refer the patient to the physician. If at all there is any emergency, that has to be taken care. Otherwise, it's a no to the elective dental care. Elective dental care is not indicated when the blood glucose is more than 400 mg per deciliter. Coming to the blood work, it's not routinely requested for dental treatment. If the patient has any medically compromised condition, a review of recent lab results are appropriate. This complete blood count with differentials will reflect the patient's current blood cell levels, and it provides us a clear picture of any deficiencies that may affect the dental treatment. Normal reference range can vary by age, sex, and method of test. I will not discuss this in detail as this will be on the lab report itself. And as a dental treatment is concerned, we are worried mostly about decreased RBC count, decreased platelet count, decreased WBC count. That too, in WBC we are concentrating on neutrophils because these lab values put an impact on the procedures we do. Anemia. Anemia is a low red blood cell count and hematocrit count. There will be concerns about the poor wound healing. The patient should be informed about before the beginning of any non-surgical periodontal therapy. The use of periodontal medicaments may assist the healing and reduce infection risk. Low platelet count or thrombocytopenia. As we all know, platelets help in hemostasis. If there is decreased platelet count, there will be a risk for excessive or uncontrolled bleeding during dental procedures or postoperatively. Consultations with the supervising physician and lab tests to evaluate the platelet count help determine the need for the collaboration with the patient's medical team. Topical hemostatic agents can be used like infusions of platelets or frozen plasma, fresh frozen plasma before or after the dental surgery to help control the bleeding. Chronic liver disease or cirrhosis patients have extremely low platelet counts. If there are no other confounding coagulating deficiencies, most invasive surgical procedures can be carried out safely with a platelet count above 50,000 per microliter of blood. CBC with differentials provide further details on white blood cell counts, including neutrophils, eosinophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, and basophils. White blood cell counts, or more specifically neutrophil values, provides information on patients' risk for infection. Patients with compromised immune system from cancer therapy, organ transplant, or HIV virus are at risk of opportunistic infections and may have delayed wound healing. These patients require evaluation for bacterial, fungal, and viral infections and need to be judicially screened for oral cancer. In particular, specific knowledge for patients' acute neutrophil count can help a dentist to better evaluate a patient's immune health and his or her ability to fight the infection or recover from the invasive treatment. Patients with neutropenia may require pre-medication prior to the dental treatment to prevent sepsis. The decision for preoperative antibiotic coverage needs to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis in conjunction with the patient's physician. Antibiotic coverage for dental procedures with absolute neutrophil count below 2 and deferral of treatment if absolute neutrophil count is below 1 may be necessary. Patients with neutropenia are at increased risk for periodontal disease and odontogenic infections. Therefore, prompt and regular professional oral care is imperative. Subclinical or opportunistic oral infections may further weaken an already compromised immune system. I would like to conclude by saying oral health professionals are better prepared to serve medically complex patients safely and confidently by knowing the type of lab test to request and what the lab values may indicate about the patient's ability to tolerate the treatment. And also, interprofessional care and communication are paramount to the effective treatment and safety of the public. Thank you.